The effects of technological and scientific innovations are pretty major for the time, since it brought change and new working conditions. According to the U.S. history textbook, the first step in this revolution was the rise of the factory system. There were two new inventions, the spinning jenny and steam engine, that improved work. There was also the telegraph, which many people found useful at the time. The steam engine helped the construction of large factories, which brought rise to the Lowell system, or the shift from home to factory. All the new machinery and developments resulted in mass production of goods, meaning there was greater demands and even more workers. This all greatly changed the American economy and affected the way people lived. There was new working conditions, movements regarding education and women, and even improvements for mental illness treatment. The rise of industry really brought more opportunities.
The educational reform was when people finally realized everyone needed an education. The website says people would make better decisions about voting, etc., etc. The prison reform, as the website says, was a woman, Dorothea Dix, who spoke out against abuse in mental hospitals, prisons, etc. The temperance movement was the encouragement of moderation of intoxicating liquids. The website says that the movement ranks were mostly women and their children being beaten such when their husbands were intoxicated. Abolitionists impacted African Americans because, according to the website, Andrew Jackson wanted to send all the African Americans back to Africa, but most of them had never even set foot in Africa.
According to the U.S. history textbook, free enterprise systems are free to produce or sell whatever they wish. They are also free to buy and use whatever they can afford. Government interference is limited to setting rules and acting as a referee to settle disputes. Government also collects taxes needed for defense and other essential public services.
The reasons for the removal of Cherokee Indians is stated in the U.S. history textbook, which specifies that Andrew Jackson fought a war with natives and believed that they were a potential threat to the nation. He also believed that their removal would let the natives preserve their traditions and keep their own separate identity. When the Cherokees rejected the proposal, the state of Georgia tried to remove them, and the Cherokees took their case to court. There was eventually another case called Worcester versus Georgia, where Samuel Worcester, a white missionary, tried to gain freedom after being arrested for living among natives. In the 1830s, the Cherokee Indians were forced to move during the late fall and winter, causing the death of about 4,000 Native Americans. This march was later named the Trail of Tears.
According to the U.S. history textbook, some significant leaders was Elizabeth C. Stanton, early leader of the women's rights. Andrew Jackson was the hero of the War of 1812. John Quincy Adams, son of John Adams, beat Andrew Jackson for presidency. Adams later appointed Henry Clay as his Secretary of State. Andrew Jackson accused Adams and Clay of making a corrupt bargain. John C. Calhoun was an American political leader who was a congressman and also a war hawk. He was also a vice president and senator and Secretary of State of the U.S.
The tariff had a big impact on the South because it meant that their buyers had to pay more. But that meant that they were more reluctant because they had to pay more. In the textbooks, it states that the tariff upset the South and the Northeast. Some members of Congress wanted to embarrass John Quincy Adams by increasing duties on raw materials while lowering the tariff, but it actually passed.
According to the U.S. history textbook, Hudson River School was founded in 1825 by Thomas Cole. Thomas Cole was an English immigrant. The artists of the Hudson River School achieved fame by painting romantic landscapes. John James drew birds, mammals, plants, and other things from nature. He also is responsible for the discovery of many new species of North American birds and mammals.
The age of Jackson had democratic changes like voting rights, where states eliminated the requirements that the voters could own property. Also, for most white men, over 21 could vote. Another democratic change was choosing a president. This was done by nominating conventions, where properly elected members of each political party chose their candidates. Campaign methods. With an increasing number of voters, new campaign methods emerged. Candidates held dinners, rallies, and public meetings. The Second Great Awakening was a revival of strong religious feelings. Methodist, Baptist, and other Protestant groups held outdoor religious services and won new covenants. As moralistic as it was, it played an important role in stirring reform movements and end slavery, reform prisons, and banned alcoholic beverages.
Henry Clay was in effect because he put the Compromise of 1850 in place. The website says that Clay moved the slavery question squarely to the front, which means that's what the debate topic was. Daniel Webster was in favor of Henry Clay's resolutions. John C. Calhoun effected the Compromise of 1850 by writing a speech against it. The website says he was too ill to deliver the speech, so he had his friend James M. Mason deliver it. Calhoun was for slavery and didn't want it to be abolished.